People will come onto this video and say, Irish, what the hell was the point in this? And I will so eagerly direct them to all of you because seriously, a Maik the Liar build? Why? He's an ass. Fine, I guess we will figure out some way to turn Kitty Cat Man into our hero of the day. Do you hear that, Kitty Cat Man? I'm talking to you, boy. Don't be lifting them paws up at me. Do you want a repeat of last time? Do you? Right, fine. Let's go, Whiskers, you dirty fuck. Welcome, my Elder Scrolls loving, Maik adoring, cave dwelling, Thalmor slaying friends to another Elder Scrolls video. I'm your host for the third time in a row, Maik the Liar, except this time with a drum, and hopefully I won't forget him this time either. And today we will be doing the first ever build video 7 years late as voted by you guys. Except this one has a bit of a twist. We will be creating the Maik the Liar build, a build so advanced and intuitive that you can't possibly handle the results afterwards. So I took on this idea as a joke, but I have actually really tried to come up with something unique. If this was Oblivion Maik, I had the perfect idea, but this is Skyrim Maik, so we need to do a bit of digging into the topic. I asked myself, how can we make this build unique and fun to play through the game all the way through? Well, this build contains quite a bit to it. We will need to delve into enchantments, dabble in some alchemy, work on our Khajiit claw fighting, and look at the iconic man himself. So without further ado, let's just jump right into this, but I just want you all to know that Maik the Liar approves of you watching this. So, a bit of background information on the mischievous character you will be roleplaying as, I guess. Maik the Liar is a running Easter egg in some of the most recent entries in the Elder Scrolls franchise, and when I say recent, I mean running back at least over a decade. He first appeared in his Colovian hat in the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind 16 years ago, then came to be our speedy skooma drinker in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. We've seen him appear randomly traveling Skyrim, giving us useful information, and once again when he was living before any of the other Maiks I just mentioned during the second era in the Elder Scrolls Online. Maik is known to lie, but not in the way you would think. He lies to benefit those who come across him on his travels. He will always give you a few snippets of help, then tell you he is too tired to continue, but find him again and he will always help you a second time. That's all you need to know about him and what type of character you are, and with that said, let's just jump into the appearance of our shifty little Khajiit. So make sure you are playing as a Khajiit for this character build. We are going to use the extra claw damage to our advantage since Maik is known to not carry weapons. The first thing you will want to do is grab yourself a pair of the iconic robes he wears. We are going to be using our own boots for this build since Maik just wears normal boots. The hooded yellow monk robes can be found in a multitude of locations, but the easiest for me to find was a free pickup at the Shrine of Talos Massacre. It's an unmarked location in Skyrim, my specialty. It's southwest of the first bunch of standing stones you come across after leaving the Helgen cave. One of the dead worshippers will usually have a pair spawned on them. If you can't find one there for some magical reason, just kill Heimskr at nighttime or pickpocket the ones he owns. They are easy to acquire anyway, and I can't imagine you won't enjoy hurting Heimskr anyway. Now, for you to be able to do any damage at all, you will have to take up a pair of gauntlets for a perk we are going to utilize later in the build. So you will need a pair of heavy armor gauntlets. So you're a Khajiit, you got the clothing, what's next? Well, before we start doing anything stupidly advanced, not that it's even that advanced, let's focus on acquiring the most noteworthy thing you will need in becoming Maik the Liar. And that, my friends, is skooma. So to grab yourself some skooma, and you will want to keep a lot. Maik loves his skooma, and it seems to be the norm of most Khajiit to have some on hand. You can usually buy some from Enthir at the college if you have progressed the questline a bit. He's the black market trader of the college. You can also usually buy some from the Khajiit caravan that goes around Skyrim 2 and sits out in front of the cities. You could also pickpocket actual Maik and steal his skooma, but what would the point in that be? There is a chunk of locations that have random skooma and you're bound to come across them at some point when you're killing bandits or something like that, but what you really want to do is make it easy on yourself and just buy it from the black market merchants. So you have your appearance, you're a Khajiit, now you have skooma. Well, with that boring part done, let's get on to the creative part of this build, and that's the damage and combat we will be dealing to the foes who get in our way. So the main idea for this build is unarmed damage, and with being a khajiit that really helps. In all the time I have seen Ma'ik the Liar over the last 7 years, I have never once seen him pick up a weapon. So that's another reason we will be using just claws. We will be using our khajiit claws for all the action we encounter when getting through the game. Khajiit are given the extra points of damage to their claws as a racial passive, so they're the best race to use for unarmed damage with any of the races. Each race has their own specialty, and khajiit are with unarmed damage. Now, to bump up the damage, we will have to utilize the unarmed claws build to survive, because like I said, I have never seen Ma'ik actually pick up a weapon, which is weird. So khajiit do a passive 15 points to be exact of damage with their claws. Even though you will be wearing robes, you will want to invest in the heavy armor perk tree. The Fists of Steel perk on the left is what you are going for. This will amplify your attack damage by adding the gauntlets armor rating to the passive and the overall base damage you do. So the higher the armor rating of the gauntlets, the more damage you deal. Smithing can come in handy here. Now, you are allowed to use restoration and alteration spells to help you survive. They are almost a necessary thing on higher difficulties. You might want to play on a higher difficulty because you might not be able to stand how easy novice is. Just grab oak flesh and a good healing spell while you're leveling up, and in no time you won't struggle at all to live. Try and find some weaker enemies to attack you to get your heavy armor up faster. Some wolves or skeletons maybe, but make sure you are wearing the gauntlets for it to count at all. So you have your appearance and your combat style. What could be next? Well, it's one thing to look like Ma'ik the Liar and another thing to fight somewhat similar to him, but in the lands of Skyrim it is incredibly hard to survive in certain parts and at lower levels too. So we need to add a few things to help keep us alive when sticking to this build, so let's shoot into it by doing some basic enchanting. So, there is a certain enchantment on a piece of armor on a guy that you can get to amplify your unarmed damage, and it can be found in the ratways below Riften. Easiest way to start and get it is to just talk to Brynjolf and Riften and start the Thieves Guild up for yourself. You will come across this dude in a small room. You won't miss him. He will attack you in sight like pretty much everything down below in the ratways. When you have killed him, take the gauntlets he has. They are the gauntlets that have the special enchantment that you are going to disenchant and take for yourself. Alongside alteration, restoration, some smithing and heavy armor, getting your enchanting skill up is important too, because you're going to want to throw this enchantment on everything you have. If you decide alongside the robes you want to wear iron boots and iron gauntlets, or steel or orcish or whatever, then you do you. But whatever you do, this enchantment is a must have if you plan on using this build. You'll want to do as much damage as you possibly can, and there is a fair few ways to amplify it as you can see with this build. So grind up your enchanting skill, and in no time you will be plowing through enemies like there is no tomorrow, as long as you aren't on legendary, because screw that difficulty. So with you doing as much damage as possible and wearing everything you want, let's add a little bit more with alchemy and shouts just for something extra for your character. This section will be a bit smaller because I couldn't find any alchemy ingredients that give any sort of buff to your unarmed damage, but when you are out there like a dirty meat shield, prepare to stock up. You'll be using power attacks a lot with this build, be it one-handed power attacks or two-handed power attacks, so stamina potions are vital when getting through this character. Make sure to stock up with an alchemist in any of the cities or towns. Also, make sure to stock up on healing potions. Never ever go anywhere without at least 50. Just buy some wheat and blisterwort, it's no trouble at all. The gold should be easy to come by, it is Skyrim. Maybe use some potions to amplify your enchantments or smithing and make them a bit stronger if you also plan on smithing some super cool gauntlets and boots. Otherwise, stick to the replenishing potions. So with shouts, there's a couple you can utilize. Unfortunately, Elemental Fury does not work with unarmed attacks, which is such a bummer, but we will still have some useful ones. Disarm is a must-have in my books. Make it a balanced fight between you and your foe. Also, slow time could be super handy too. Anything to make it easier for you in a fight, so get these shouts in their set locations. Any shout really will help, especially ones like Unrelenting Force or Marked for Death. Marked for Death especially. So with all that, you pretty much have everything you pretty much need to survive with this build. So yeah, you use robes, heavy boots, and heavy gauntlets. You enchant them all with the unarmored enchantment that you get from the Ratways. You use alteration and restoration spells to keep yourself alive. You use lots of health potions and stamina potions to keep yourself going. Throw in some shouts to give yourself the upper advantage. You make sure you're a khajiit and use only this unarmed build. Oh, and you never ever forget the skooma. Isn't that right, Maik? I'm just like you now. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. This was a lot of fun to make. I might do some more in the future, maybe. If you did enjoy this, let me know what you guys thought. And if you didn't, well, what can I do, to be honest? Can't make everyone in the world like you. Anyways, I do hope you all have a wonderful day. If not a wonderful day, a great week, month, year. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.